If you love learning bridge strategy through real game stories, hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
What if you had just one tool in your bidding toolbox that could solve two of your biggest, most common problems at the bridge table? Well, in the world of competitive bridge, a tool like that actually exists, and it gives partnerships a serious edge. Today, we're going to dive into a convention that does exactly that. It's called XYZ.
So let's set the scene. Picture this. It's a winter Sunday at the Bridge and Biscotti Club. You can smell the coffee, steam is rising from the espresso cups, and the weekly team game is going full tilt. It's got that quiet, intense focus that you only find at a good bridge game.
And in our little story today, we've got two different pairs sitting at two different tables, and they're both playing the exact same hand. And get this, both of them end up in the exact same final contract, 3-note trump by South. On paper, it looks completely identical.
So you're probably thinking, okay, same deal, same result. What's the big deal? Well, that's the thing. The real story, the part that's actually super fascinating, is in how they got there. See, the journey of the auction, that tells us everything. And to get it, we need to understand one key tool.
And that tool, of course, is the XYZ convention. So what is it? Well, put simply, after your partnership has bid 3 different suits, all at the one level, XYZ gives you this really structured way to describe your hand strength. Are you weak? Are you just invitational? Or are you strong enough to force all the way to game? It lets you do all of that while keeping the bidding super low.
So, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the bidding puzzle a lot of us run into. Then we'll introduce XYZ as the perfect solution. After that, we'll connect it to stuff you already know, walk through some hands, and finally give you a checklist so you can start using it yourself. All right, let's dive right into a classic problem. Imagine this. Your partner opens 1 diamond, you respond 1 heart, and then they come back with 1 spade. Okay, now what? You've each shown a suit, but you're at a crossroads. This is that spot where, honestly, so many partnerships just start guessing about their strength and whether a game is even on the table. Yeah, exactly. I mean, finding the right bid here is really tricky. Are you weak? Are you just invitational? Are you actually strong enough to force to game? You've got to clarify your hand, but you're quickly running out of room to do it at a low level. A jump might be way too much, but just bidding a suit again could be way too little. It's a real communication puzzle.
Okay, but don't worry because this is exactly where the XYZ convention comes into play. It offers this super elegant and efficient solution to this specific problem. Think of it like a simple sorting system for your hand. So what is it? Really, you can just think of it as a special, pre-agreed language for you and your partner. Whenever that very specific 1X, 1Y, 1Z auction happens, boom, XYZ kicks in. It gives you a whole set of tools to explore your combined strength. And the best part is, it keeps the bidding nice and low. You're not forced into some premature jump to game.
So this is the most important part to remember. This specific sequence, opener bids, you respond, opener rebids a new suit at the 1 level, that is the trigger. It's like the green light for you as the responder to turn on XYZ. If the auction doesn't follow that exact 1X, 1Y, 1Z path, then the convention is off. Simple as that. Now here's where it gets really interesting. XYZ isn't some rigid one-size-fits-all convention. You and your partner actually have to make a key choice right at the start about how you're going to use it. And believe me, this agreement is absolutely essential.
And this slide just lays out that main decision perfectly. Is your 2-club bid going to be invitational, where it's kind of asking your partner to clarify their hand? Or are you going to play it puppet style, where 2 clubs is just an artificial relay that forces your partner to bid 2 diamonds? That second way lets you be the one to describe your hand on the next turn. Both styles work great, but you gotta pick one and stick with it.
All right, so let's put this into action and see how it all unfolds from the responder's point of view. We're going to use the invitational style. It's super common as our main example, just to see how these bids really work. So once you have an XYZ agreement, your next bid becomes incredibly precise. No more guessing. You can immediately sort your hand into a nice, clean category. You can just pass if you're weak, no problem. You can bid 2 clubs to show an invitational strength hand, something with some potential. Or you can bid 2 diamonds to flat out announce that you're forcing this auction to game.
Okay, so responder has used one of those artificial bids to describe their general strength. Now the ball is back in the opener's court. An opener has a really simple set of replies to keep the conversation going.
And this table just shows you how clear everything becomes. After responder's invitational 2-club bid,
Opener can paint a really specific picture. Bidding 2 diamonds, the cheapest bid says, hey, I've got a minimum hand. Bidding a major directly shouts, yes, I have a fit for you. And bidding 2 NT shows a nice, balanced hand. See? It's simple and it's super effective.
And hey, just a quick note. If you and your partner do choose the puppet style, remember that Opener's first job is just purely mechanical. They hear 2 clubs, they bid 2 diamonds. That's it. The real description of the hands doesn't even start until the next round of bidding.
All right, so we've seen how it works in theory, but the big question is it the right tool for your partnership? Let's try to weigh the benefits against the requirements to help you decide. Look, the payoff here is huge. You get one single convention that can prevent disasters across a ton of common auctions. It keeps you low so you can explore and find the perfect contract, and it draws a super clear line between invitational hands and game-forcing hands. So what's the trade-off? Well, you absolutely must have clear partnership agreements, and you do give up your ability to make natural 2-level minor suit bids in these specific spots. And to really make XYZ work for you, you've got to avoid these common pitfalls. And you might notice a theme here, right? Pretty much all of them come from not having that explicit discussion with your partner beforehand. So agree on the style, invitational or puppet. Agree on what happens if your opponents get in the way, and have a clear plan for what the replies mean. Now this right here, this is probably the most crucial safety rule of all. When you are in doubt, if an opponent jumps into the auction with a bid, just assume your special convention is turned off. Making that your default will save you from a world of confusion and, trust me, a lot of potential bidding disasters.
So, that brings us back to the big question. Is your partnership ready for XYZ? By adding this one convention, you can literally replace guesswork with precision in some of the most common and frustrating auctions you're ever going to face. It takes a thorny bidding problem and offers a simple, really elegant solution. So maybe it's time to add it to your game. We all have these fantastic, powerful bidding tools, but, they often come with some really frustrating limits. I mean, think about new minor forcing or checkback stamen. They're amazing for figuring out if you have a game after your partner rebids 1 no trump. They give you a ton of structure and precision. But that's the thing. They're pretty much locked into that one specific auction. And this slide just lays out the problem perfectly. On the left, you've got your classic 1 club, 1 heart, 1 no trump auction. Your tools are all ready to go. But what happens on the right, after 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 spade? All of a sudden, your go-to convention is useless, and you're kind of flying blind. And this, right here, is where XYZ comes in. It's this beautiful, elegant solution designed to fix this exact problem, to unify your bidding across all these different sequences. So here's the core idea. XYZ takes that powerful logic you're already using and just applies it everywhere. The name itself tells you the formula. Opener bids 1X, you respond 1Y, and opener rebids 1Z. If an auction fits that simple 1XYZ pattern, the convention is on. This quote really hits the nail on the head. It's all about consistency. You don't need one set of rules for a 1 NT rebid and another for a 1 spade rebid. You get to use the same logical system in all of these spots, which means way fewer memory issues and much better contracts. All right, so how does this actually connect to what you're doing now? This is where that aha moment happens, because you're about to see that XYZ isn't some brand new, complex thing. It's really just a simple extension of what you already play. And what's so great is how simple the translation is. Just look at the slide. If you play a standard new minor forcing or checkback, that artificial bid just becomes 2 clubs in XYZ. And if you play a 2-way version where you separate invitational hands from game-forcing hands, well, XYZ maps to that perfectly. 2 clubs is your invite, and 2 diamonds is your game force. It really is that straightforward. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's see how this stuff actually plays out at the table. We're going to look at 3 different hands to show you the real flexibility you get with this convention. First up, a situation we all see. You've got an invitational hand, and you want to check for a major suit fit, but you're not strong enough to just force to game. So let's say the bidding goes 1 club, you respond 1 diamond, and partner rebids 1 no trump. You're sitting there with, say, 11 or 12 points. You want to invite and maybe see if you have a 4-4 heart fit. What do? You just bid 2 clubs. That's your invitational XYZ checkback. It asks your partner to tell you a little more so you can find the absolute best contract. Okay, now let's amp up the hand strength a bit, but this time in an auction where your old tools would have been totally useless. So check out this auction, 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 spade.
This is that classic 1XYZ sequence where your old conventions just don't apply. But now, holding a game-forcing hand with good heart support, you can immediately show your strength by bidding 2 diamonds. This tells partner, hey, we are going to game. No questions asked. Now, let's figure out where. It's so direct, so efficient.
For our last example, we're going to look at something a little more advanced, but it's a really clever use of the convention. This is all about how you can use XYZ to get out of trouble with a weak hand and a long suit.
Okay, get this. The auction goes 1 club, 1 heart, 1 spade. You've got a weak hand, maybe 6 to 9 points, but a long diamond suit. Your only goal is to play in 2 diamonds and just stop. With a special partnership agreement, you can bid 2 clubs. This is a relay. It forces your partner to make their cheapest bid, which is almost always 2 diamonds. And once they do, you just pass. It's a slick little way to sign off at the 2 level.
But, and I can't stress this enough, this special trick only works if you and your partner have talked about it and agreed on it ahead of time. You can't just spring this on them and assume you can pass their response to 2 clubs. This is absolutely critical for your partnership discussions. Get it on the convention card.
All right, let's bring this all home. If you're getting excited about trying this out, here's a simple, actionable checklist to help you and your partner get on the same page.
There are really just 4 key things you've got to sort out. First, define your mapping. Is 2 clubs simply invitational, or is it a puppet forcing a 2-diamond bid? Second, decide your rules for when the opponents interfere. Is XYZ still on, or is it off? Third, be crystal clear on what openers' bids mean after the relay. And fourth, like we just talked about, have an explicit agreement about whether responder is ever allowed to pass that relay.
And that's really all there is to the XYZ convention. See? It's not about learning some whole new complicated language. It's just about making the bidding language you already speak way more consistent and a whole lot more powerful. So let's paint a picture of a classic scenario. Your partner kicks things off with 1 club. You respond 1 heart. Then your partner bids 1 spade. Okay, so 3 different suits are on the table, and now the spotlight is right back on you. What on earth is the right call here?
So here's the pickle you're in. You're holding a pretty good hand, right? Maybe it's good enough for a game contract, but you just can't be sure yet. You need more info from your partner, but you've got to ask for it without accidentally promising too much and getting the team into a contract that's doomed to fail. Okay, so for a long time, players had this one specific tool for this exact situation. It's a convention known as 4th suit forcing, or just FSF.
Now, the key word here, the one you really got to latch onto, is artificial. When you bid the 4th suit, so in our example that'd be diamonds, you're not actually saying, hey partner, I've got great diamonds. No, instead, it's a secret code. It's basically a question mark disguised as a bid.
So what question is this code actually asking? Well, it's basically a request for more detail. You're asking things like, hey, do you have at least 3 hearts to back me up? Or maybe, got any high cards, we call them stoppers, in the other suits so we could maybe play a no trump? You're just trying to get a clearer picture of your partner's hand.
It sounds pretty good, right? A single bid that asks all those important questions. But, and this is a big but, this classic tool has a fundamental, kind of hidden flaw that can get you into some really awkward spots. And here it is, the FSF bid is completely overloaded. See, it's used by players who have a pretty good invitational kind of hand, but it's also used by players who have a monster game-forcing hand. Your partner hears the bid, but they have no way of knowing which of those 2 very different hands you're holding.
And the result of that confusion is huge. If you just have that invitational hand, the maybe hand, you're stuck using the same powerful bid as someone with a sure thing. And that often pushes the bidding way too high, way too fast, all because you didn't have a way to ask your question a little more gently. And this is where the story gets good. This is where modern bridge theory comes in with a much more elegant solution. Enter a convention called XYZ. It's specifically designed to fix this mess and create a much clearer way to talk about the strength of your hand. So what XYZ does is it jumps into these specific auctions and basically says, all right, everybody pause. Forget that 4th suit forcing rule for a second. We're going to do this a better way. It kind of hijacks the minor suit bids, clubs and diamonds, and gives them brand new, very specific jobs to do.
And this right here is the magic trick. This is the heart of the solution. XYZ unmixes those messages. A bid of 2 clubs now becomes the maybe bid, the artificial question for those invitational hands. A bid of 2 diamonds, though, That becomes the definitely bid, only for hands that know for a fact they're going the game.
And that's the genius of it, you see. It's just so efficient. Right away, at the 2 level, boom, your partner knows exactly where you stand. There's no more guesswork. This one simple separation just brings so much clarity to the whole auction and stops you from getting too high by accident.
Okay, so theory is one thing, but let's see how this actually plays out at the table. We're going to put these two systems head to head.
All right, just look at this chart. Under FSF, if the unbid suit is diamonds, your only choice for an ask is 2 diamonds. And it's got that murky, mixed meaning. But now look over at XYZ. Whoa! Suddenly you've got clear options. 2 clubs is now your artificial just asking bid. 2 diamonds is now reserved only for the strong hands. And check out that bottom row. Invitational hands go from being handled awkwardly to safely. That is a massive upgrade.
And this is what I really want you to get. The big deal with XYZ isn't what it did to the strong bid. That's kind of similar to the old way. The real revolution is what it does with the 2-club bid. XYZ literally creates a brand new tool, a new, lower rung on the ladder for those maybe hands to safely start asking questions.
This really just boils it all down, doesn't it? The old way, FSF, had you worrying about the auction's mechanics. Okay, which of the 4 suits haven't we bid yet? It's almost like a trivia question, but XYZ, it completely flips the script. The question becomes what it should have been all along. How strong is my hand?
So, as you can probably guess, there's a reason why so many top players have ditched 4th suit forcing and have just fully embraced the clarity of XYZ. Let's dig into why this modern approach really wins out.
This quote just nails it. The identity of the 4th suit becomes totally irrelevant. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters are the 2 new jobs given to 2 clubs and 2 diamonds. One is for exploring, and the other is for saying, we're going to game. It's simple, it's clean, and it's powerful.
I mean, the benefits just keep piling up. You show your strength right away, which keeps the bidding low and safe when you're just exploring. And when you do have that monster hand, you actually gain more room to figure out the absolute best contract. And best of all, it's just simpler. No more mental gymnastics trying to remember which suit was the 4th one.
In the end, it really all just comes down to the power of 2. Ultimately, this shift from FSF to XYZ is just a perfect little story of strategic evolution. It's about finding one tool that's trying to do too many jobs at once and then replacing it with 2 specialized tools that do their jobs perfectly. That is what modern strategy is all about.
Okay, let's put the 2 pieces of the puzzle together. We've seen what happens after a 1 no-trump rebid, and we've seen what happens after a suit rebid. Now let's look at the unified system that comes out of it. This is where the sheer elegance of XYZ really hits you.
And here it is, the entire XYZ system on one slide. Just look at that beautiful consistency. It doesn't matter if your partner rebids 1 no-trump or a new suit. The logic is identical. If you have an invitational hand, you bid 2 clubs. If you have a game-forcing hand, you bid 2 diamonds. 2 totally different looking auctions, one simple, unified answer. It's brilliant.
You know, this single sentence just sums it all up perfectly. XYZ takes the simple, familiar logic from one type of auction and just brilliantly applies it everywhere, replacing a complicated, memory-draining rule with one elegant solution.
So why does this work so well? Well, it frees up your mental energy. You're not wasting brain power trying to track suits. The logic is always the same. 2 clubs is invite, 2 diamonds is force. It builds on what you might already know, and it just leads to more precise, less error-prone bidding.
Okay, so theory time is over. Let's head back to the Bridge and Biscotti Club and see how this actually plays out in the real world.
All right, let's get into our first case study and see how this actually works. We're going to start in room A, where our pair used XYZ to solve a really classic and, let's be honest, often pretty clumsy bidding problem.
So let's walk through the bidding in room A. South opens 1 club. North responds 1 heart. South then rebids 1 spade. Now here comes the key bid of the whole sequence. North bids 2 diamonds. This is where XYZ really kicks into gear. But why was that the right bid to make?
To get that, you really have to put yourself in North's shoes for a second. After South's 1 spade rebid, North is facing a classic bidding dilemma. I mean, what are your options here?
So, traditionally, this is what we call a 4th suit forcing situation. North has a pretty good hand, knows game might be there, but what's the right move? Just jumping to game is a total guess. Committing to no trump right away feels premature, and making some simple preference bid might just get passed out. It's just an awkward spot to be in.
And this is where the crucial shift happens. With XYZ, you stop thinking, oh, I have to bid the fourth suit. Instead, you just ask yourself, how strong am I? North had a game-forcing hand, period. And in their system, that two-diamond bid is the designated way to show exactly that. It's a bid about strength, not about the diamond suit itself.
And this just perfectly shows the first job of XYZ. It brings some real discipline to the auction. It creates a very clear dividing line. There's a bid for hands that are just invitational, and another bid, in this case using the fourth suit, for hands that are, without a doubt, forcing to game. It's like fourth suit forcing, but just cleaner and a lot more precise.
Okay, now let's wander over to room B. We've got the same hand, but a slightly different auction created a whole new set of questions. And this is where we get to see the second job of the XYZ convention in action.
So the auction starts out the same. One club, one heart. But this time, and this is a big but, South rebids one no trump. That one bid changes the meaning of everything that follows. North, holding the same strong hand, again bids two diamonds. But this time, that bid is playing a completely different role. What's so cool here is that after South's one-note trump rebid, the XYZ framework just seamlessly becomes something most players already know, new minor forcing, or as some call it, checkback. The convention literally just adapts to the situation. Two diamonds is still game forcing, but now it's asking a whole new set of questions.
So, North bids two diamonds, asking opener, hey, tell me more about your hand.
By showing that heart support at the lowest possible level, South gives North all the info needed to place the final contract. And that's exactly what they do, bidding three no trump. Easy. So the lesson here is that XYZ doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. When the auction calls for a familiar tool like checkback, XYZ just provides a clean, modern way to use it, keeping all the meanings that you already know and trust. It's all about unifying concepts, not just replacing them for the sake of it.
All right, let's bring this all together. We saw two different tables play the same hand, get to the same contract, but they did it through two very different looking auctions. So what does that really tell us about the power of a convention like XYZ?
Let's just lay it all out. In room A, opener rebid a suit, so XYZ stepped in to replace fourth suit forcing. Over in room B, opener rebid one no trump, and XYZ basically just became new minor forcing. But in both auctions, the philosophy underneath was exactly the same. Make a strength-based question that leads you smoothly and logically to the right contract. So, what are the big takeaways from all of this? If you're thinking about maybe adding XYZ to your own system, what are the core ideas you really need to remember?
First, always think about strength, not suits. The question is, am I invitational or am I game forcing? Second, remember the convention just adapts based on what opener rebids. A suit rebid is a totally different context than a no-trump rebid. And finally, and this is a big one, remember that having one structure that does two different jobs isn't a bug. That's the entire point. Good auctions with XYZ should feel simple, efficient, honestly a little boring. And that's a good thing.
I think this deal is just the perfect showcase of what XYZ is designed to do. It gives you this single, logical, strength-based framework that handles two of the most common bidding problems you run into. It becomes new minor forcing after a 1NT rebid, and it replaces fourth suit forcing after a suit rebid.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Just look at how smoothly both of those pairs got to the best contract, with no guessing, no stress. And it leaves you with a really simple question to think about for your own partnership. Is your system this efficient?
Subscribe our channel for more videos.